Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning to inform this Honorable House of the positive results of S&P Global Ratings, which I'll refer to as S&P's recent sovereign ratings review. Mr. Speaker, during the week of April 15, 2024, S&P Global Ratings conducted its annual ratings review of Bermuda. The purposes of this review was to assess the country's creditworthiness and to determine the level of risk associated with lending to Bermuda. Mr. Speaker, when evaluating a country's creditworthiness, a credit rating agency assesses the country's ability and willingness to service its financial obligations to commercial creditors on time and in full. Both quantitative and qualitative considerations form the basis for these forward-looking assessments. Mr. Speaker, to make its determination for Bermuda, S&P met with the Ministry of Finance, the Department of Statistics, as well as a number of other persons and entities in the public and private sector. Those interviewed outside the government agencies include the Governor, Bermuda Monetary Authority, the Association of Bermuda Insurers and Reinsurers, the Bermuda Tourism Authority, and the Bermuda Business Development Agency. And also, Mr. Speaker, I also believe the opposition. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to announce that after evaluating the information received through the discussion and research, S&P has reaffirmed Bermuda's A-plus long-term sovereign credit and senior unsecured debt ratings, A1 short-term rating, and AA+ transfer and convertibility assessment, with the outlook assessed as stable. Mr. Speaker, in explaining the rationale for the rating affirmation, S&P stated, and I quote, "The stable outlook reflects our expectation that the local economy will remain healthy and support solid government finances and low debt, as well as Bermuda's external asset position. We believe continued growth will support a balanced budget in line with the government's expectations this year. We assume a commitment to fiscal consolidation will lead to balanced budgets and a slight decrease in net general government debt over the next 3 years." End quote. Mr. Speaker, in the report published on May 7th, S&P indicated that Bermuda's economy is on track to grow by about 3% in 2024, following an estimated increase of 4% in 2023 and 6.4% in 2022. Solid growth reflects continued growth in the international business sector, where Bermuda is a global leader in the insurance and reinsurance sector. In addition, tourism continues to rebound from the pandemic. Mr. Speaker, the combined opposition would like the people of this country to believe that this historic economic growth is solely a result of the international business sector and has nothing to do with the government's economic policies. However, in their report, S&P contradicted this narrative by praising Bermuda for, and I quote, "its strong institutional framework and prudent policy making," end quote, a clear nod to our government's foresight and disciplined approach. Mr. Speaker, these comments help to validate the government's economic policies and our commitment to moving this country towards stable, long-term economic growth combined with fiscal discipline. Mr. Speaker, S&P is highly regarded, internationally recognized ratings agency. Many, including the opposition, refer to it as a gold standard of rating agencies, and so the public should accept this report as an independent and objective assessment of our fiscal and economic policies. As a government, we are encouraged that S&P has acknowledged the economic progress that we have made thus far. Mr. Speaker, we recently made a $50 million repayment towards our national debt, are on the path towards the first balanced budget in over 20 years, and last week, the Minister of Economy and Labor announced the lowest unemployment rate since 1980. Again, Mr. Speaker, the lowest unemployment rates in the country since 1980. Mr. Speaker, we have successfully rolled out 67 affordable housing units, recently celebrated a record-breaking opening of our cruise season, and are making tangible steps towards implementing the most fundamental tax reform in Bermuda's modern history. Mr. Speaker, while the report was largely positive and endorsed the hard work that the government has done to date, it is also important to note that we must continue to be vigilant and maintain our prudent approach to managing the country's finances and work towards a budget surplus. Mr. Speaker, before I close, I'd like to thank all the stakeholders who met with S&P and helped to ensure their continued confidence in Bermuda. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to emphasize that this government is fully committed to implementing reforms that will ensure the long-term stability or sustainability of Bermuda's public finances and broad economic growth while reducing taxes to ease Bermuda's cost of living. The successful implementation of the Economic Recovery Plan, the global minimum tax, and increased investment within Bermuda will ensure that Bermuda prospers and that credit rating agencies continue to endorse its creditworthiness. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.